Starting university is a big jump. It's a massive leap in our lives to go from secondary schooling up to uni. And honestly, it's a little scary. I know when I first started university, for the good first year to year and a half, I knew absolutely nothing. And after the last 6 to 7 years of studies, I think I've got a little bit more of an idea on how things are actually run. So I thought I'd make a video today to share with you all some of the most important things that I wish I knew before starting university. Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Harry and I'm an aspiring medical student in Australia, and I'm also on track to graduate and become a paramedic at the end of this year. So over the last 6 to 7 years, I have graduated in a Bachelor of Biomedical Science at Deakin University, and I'm currently in my final year of a Bachelor of Paramedicine at Victoria University. So I've got about 6, 7, maybe 8 tips that I want to share with you all today that I think are some of the most important things that you need to know before starting uni. So grab a pen and buckle up. When you first start out at uni, it can be pretty daunting, right? Like you've got this whole new environment, this new teaching style, you may not know anybody else there at all, and you have to kind of make a whole new friend group. And not only that, but you are all alone. Not totally alone, like not isolated from the world. Alone in the fact that you are only accountable for yourself. And this is probably one of the biggest lessons that it took me embarrassingly too long to learn when I first started out at uni. And that's, nobody's gonna follow you up to get any of your work done. You're not gonna have teachers, sending you emails asking you to submit your assignment on time. If you don't submit it on time, that's 100% on you, and you just have to cop the late penalty and then try and make up the marks later on in the year. The professors and all the lecturers there really are there to help you, and if you do ask, they will help. However, they do have their own research and they have their own work and other classes to attend to, so they just don't have the time to be following you up. So I find it's really, really helpful, first and foremost, to get yourself into that mindset of, I can only help myself here. Therefore, it kind of helps to keep you a little bit more accountable for actually getting the work done, because it's actually pretty easy to just fall into a little bit of a false sense of comfort and security when you're 2-3 weeks through into the course and you kind of start to get a bit of an idea and a vibe about how everything's run, and so you push back all those assignments, or you think that you can get it done in quicker time than you can. So yeah, it just kind of helps to keep you a little bit more focused and accountable for actually getting the work done when you need to. Now this is actually a pretty easy one. I feel like I talk about organization and planning way too much on this channel. Like it's seriously turning into a bit of a meme, but it's so important. Like it is the single easiest thing that you can do to make doing absolutely anything that much easier. So when you are starting at uni, take the time to do the little things. Take the time to go and scout out the place beforehand. Find where the free parking is. Find the quickest and easiest way to get there. Find where the supermarkets are, where the gyms are, all of those things. Because I can guarantee you, you're going to be having times where you are at uni studying for 5-6 hours at a time, and you're going to want to know where the supermarket is so you can go and get yourself a cheeky burrito or a cheeky frozen pizza. Now this is actually a pretty important one. I know they say uni is all about studying and kind of getting the grades and really kind of shooting yourself into your career in the future. But what's probably the most important thing about uni are the people, are the friends that you can make and the experiences that you can have while you're there. So don't pass off this opportunity to go and introduce yourself to somebody and try and make as many friends as possible. Because the more friends you have, the more experiences you have, and the more enjoyable the overall process will be. Now I know, it's pretty easy to say it, right? Oh, why don't you just go make friends? Like, I get it, I understand. And that's because naturally, I'm a pretty introverted person. I don't like putting myself in uncomfortable situations or in situations where I feel vulnerable. But this is something that you can improve on. This is something that you can work on to become better at. When I first started uni at Deakin, I made a pact with myself that I would say hello to every person I sat next to for the first month that I was there. And that was probably the most important thing that I did for my whole, not only uni life, but my whole life in general. Because I found out that in almost every single occasion, people were nice. and people wanted to be nice back and they wanted to talk to you, and they were also a little bit anxious and a little bit shy. So they were happy to talk to somebody and get to know somebody. And as with anything, the more that you do it, the easier it becomes. So the more that you put yourself out there and say hi to people and chat and speak to somebody you don't know, you build up that skill and you get better and better at it. So that over time it becomes so much easier to introduce yourself to somebody and potentially make a new friend. Most of my friends that I actually made at uni were because I put myself out there and I said hello. And because of that, it made my life at uni so much easier. All of a sudden I had other people to share the burden with. I had other people to study with, people to help me when I needed it. It's all these little 1% things that just make the overall experience that much easier and that much more enjoyable. Now this is essentially a continuation from that exact point, is that being able to make friends means that you can study together. Being able to study together is probably one of the greatest things that you can do at uni. It allows you to share ideas with the people around you. It just makes the overall process of studying that much more enjoyable, and it's a great way to bond and get to know people as well. So if you ever get the opportunity to study with someone, whether it's with friends or even if just some people have asked you to study, take it up and go with it, because it's a great way to actually make friends with them, but also further your learning at the same time. Being able to study together allows you to use each other as their own individual resource. You can bounce ideas off each other, you can collaborate to come up with new ideas. You eventually just make this one big sphere of learning and you become a big collaborative brain, because you might have an idea and you mention it to a friend and they have that same idea, and then you guys start talking about it and developing it a little bit further, and then one of the other friends in the group might pitch a way to improve that and make it better, and all of a sudden you've got this really good momentum of ideas flowing, I suppose, and it all just comes together really, really nicely. Now, as I mentioned, study sessions are a great way to almost feel excited and motivated to actually want to study, because I find that they actually kind of double up as a social catch-up and as a way to get stuff done. Because there's just something really, really nice, and there's a really cool vibe about getting 3 or 4 of your friends, jumping into a study room with some food at the library and just smashing out 5 to 6 hours of hardcore study while also throwing jokes around and having a good convo. It's almost like it seems to act as a really nice bridge between collaborative learning and social respite throughout the day. I can honestly tell you, some of the most enjoyable and worthwhile days I've had while at uni have been in these collaborative study sessions with some friends throughout the whole day. This is something that I think a lot of people struggle with, not just at uni, but also in life in general. And I think it's tricky because it's really, really hard to actually get over this and work on it and move past the point where we're happy to ask for help. I think that's just because we're a bit too worried about looking dumb, about feeling insecure, about getting the question wrong, about people judging us and thinking that we're not as smart as we could have been. But at the end of the day, none of that stuff matters at all, because especially at somewhere like uni, you're there to learn. And through asking questions and getting things wrong is a great way to learn. So if you can, really, really try and work on it, because being able to ask questions and feeling confident in yourself to get something wrong is probably one of the most important things that you can do to help facilitate your growth for more learning. So if you do struggle with asking for help, try and work your way up little by little. So say, find a friend who you know is not going to judge you and not going to critique you too harshly, and ask them a question that you don't know, that you think they might know the answer to, and build your way up from there. Then after that, try and ask somebody in a uni group assignment. Ask them something little, like maybe a question that you already know the answer to, but just to kind of try and feel it out a little bit. And then after that, build up again, and then maybe ask the lecturer after class one-on-one. And then over time, you'll be able to build it up to putting your hand up in the middle of class and being like, ooh, pick me, I want to get the question wrong. No, but seriously, all the lecturers are there to help you. So answering your questions during class is a form of helping you. And I know this is going to be absolutely totally cliche, and I feel just a little cringe having to say it. But if you have to ask the question, chances are everybody else, or at least half of the other people there, also need to know the answer to the question as well. Although it might just seem like asking for help is just a way to further your own learning, if you're asking people who are in your group, like if you're asking people during a lab session or during a group assignment, other students who are in the same boat as you, it acts as a brilliant way to start a conversation, to break the ice and get to know somebody and, wedge yourself into their life and force them to stay with you so you can be friends. I remember my core friendship group at uni for my Bachelor of Biomedical Science, my first degree that I did. My core group of friends I made because I asked for help during some questions that we had in class. So I think we had some questions we had to answer on mitosis or meiosis or one of the two. I don't know, they're pretty much the same thing anyway. And I wasn't quite sure on one or two questions. So I asked the girl next to me for some help and she helped me with the questions and went through it and she was really, really nice. So we got talking during that class and it turns out that she was also there with 2 or 3 of her friends as well. So after class, I got to chatting with them and we were just speaking about, boring uni stuff, about how we're going with the course, do we like the uni, when's our next assignment due, really, really fun stuff. But at the end of it, they actually asked me to come back to a party that they were having at the residential housing on the uni, which to me was like crazy. Here's these people who have chatted to me for 10 minutes and are now offering me to come and hang out with them after uni, like that night. It was pretty awesome and it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't have asked for help during the class just a half an hour beforehand. So I think this really speaks precedence to putting yourself out of your comfort zone when at uni. Ask for help if you need to. Talk to somebody, just anybody. Build up these skills over time and eventually you'll get there. This is something that I've only really realized and picked up on in the last year of my uni studies. That's right. This is something that has taken me 5-6 years of uni to actually kind of realize. So if you're gonna remember anything, I think this is probably the one too. I'm just gonna say it plain and simple. You don't have to go to class at all unless it's compulsory. There's actually this real interesting phenomena that seems to only really occur at uni. And it's this idea that we know we're not going to get anything out of the lecture, we know it's boring, we know we don't like it, but we go anyway. And we go to the lecture and we sit there and we might do 1 or 2 notes, but most of the time we spend that hour just playing on our phones, doing absolutely nothing. And then at the end of it, we walk out and go, oh, what a waste of time. But damn, don't I just feel productive? I went to a lecture. So we end up feeling great and good about ourselves and feel like we've got all this work done because we went to an hour lecture where we did absolutely nothing. Now, I've always kind of got sucked into the idea that I have to go to the lectures because I'm so scared of missing like this one key important piece of information that will somehow set me behind for the whole semester and I'll just end up failing all my assessments or something because I won't know what to do. Like, ugh, come on, Harri. If you don't feel like you get anything valuable out of actually going to the lecture, then don't go. All the lectures in almost every case will be recorded anyway. So if you find that you get more stuff done at home and you're so much more productive in your own space, then do that because it's going to be so much more beneficial for you at the end of the day. And then afterwards, if you want to, you can just re-watch those lectures at your own speed in your own time. And best of all, you can chuck it on like 1.5 or 2 times speed and just fly through it. Something you can't do in real life. So yeah, pretty much for the whole probably last year and a half of uni, I have not gone to a single class. I've probably gone to 1 or 2, but there's just absolutely no need for me to go to a class anymore because everything that I need, I can just get off the slides. And any like important assignment or assessment information is already going to be on the unit information guide, like on the Uni Cloud website. And I can just ask my friends there who actually went to the class if I missed anything that's really important. Going first, eh? Sounds scary just saying it, but this is a philosophy that I actually live by quite heavily, not only in uni, but in life in general as well. And it's that actively volunteering to go first in almost every situation is a really, really great way to learn and develop your sense of learning. Now, it does involve a little bit of a mindset shift though, because you have to get to a point where you're not viewing it as a pass or fail or as a right or wrong experience, but instead you're seeing it as a way to learn and a way to grow from it. And once you've got to this point, it just makes the whole process that much easier because all of a sudden you no longer feel bad or feel a bit self-conscious about going first and perhaps making some silly mistakes along the way, because you can use them as a tangible goalpost to guide your learning down the track when it's a lot more important for you to not make the mistakes. Now this kind of can be incorporated into everything I've spoken about so far. Like if you want to make new friends, be the person that goes and says hi first, because almost 10 times out of 10, they're gonna be nice and wanna say hi back. So whenever I'm in a lab or I'm in an OSCE classroom with a sessional running us through a scenario, I always wanna be the one to go first in the scenario, because I find it so much more valuable for me to make the mistakes myself, as opposed to watching somebody else make the mistakes and then they talk through it. And so I no longer have to make like a mental note, like, okay, don't make those mistakes. He did that, so I'll make sure I don't do this. I know so much more clearer in my mind what I need to do to pass, because I was the one that actually made the mistakes. Because the more mistakes we make, the more resources we have at our disposal to learn. And finally, as a closing point, have fun. Stay open to the experience and just enjoy it. Immerse yourself in all of it. Meet new people. Understand new cultures and new ways of living, find other areas of life that you haven't been exposed to before. There are so many chances to do overseas study trips, to undertake new or unique research opportunities, which honestly I believe are once in a lifetime opportunities that you would not have got the chance to partake in if you weren't enrolled and studying at the uni. Like I got to go overseas for 4 weeks and study at a university in Mexico. And over there I was with about 20 other Australian students, and we got to live with a local family there in the city. And it was absolutely amazing experience. We got to see the healthcare facilities and how the healthcare system ran in these lower socioeconomic areas of Mexico City. And it was really, really eye-opening and a wonderful learning experience, and gave me so much more perspective on how great we have it here in Australia. It was just a really, really humbling experience. And not only that, we had an absolute blast. It was so much fun. As well as this, I've had friends that have been able to undertake really unique research opportunities through placement, purely just from getting to know the lecturers in class. And all of this is so exciting, and it's lots and lots of fun. And it's something that we really need to make sure to try and remember amidst all the uni work and stress. And it's that uni's fun, and uni's meant to be fun. And that you have to make sure to remember to give yourself a break when you need to and cut yourself some slack. Don't forget to take stock of all this at the end of the day, and remember that it's okay to maybe blow off a weekend of studying to go and party with your friends or go on a road trip for that weekend. Because at the end of the day, it's those memories that you're going to remember, and not the memories of staying at home and studying for a whole weekend in your room by yourself. So there we have it. They are my 8 crucial, most important things that I wish I knew before starting university. So if you liked the video, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It's a small gesture, but it goes a long way in supporting the channel, and I greatly appreciate it. If you're starting university this year, or you have just started, leave a comment down below and I'll check it out. And until next time everyone, look after yourselves, and I'll see you then. Bye.